हेलो एंड नमस्ते टू वन एंड ऑल। आज का करंट अफेयर्स में आपका स्वागत है। आज है दिनांक 18 जून 2025 एंड आज हम स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं द डेली करंट अफेयर्स एनालिसिस, इट इज़ DCAA। एंड आई कुड नॉट एम्फसाइज इनफ कि दिस प्रोग्राम इज़ वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट। यह प्रोग्राम एक महत्वपूर्ण कदम रखेगा आपकी सफलताओं में। आप किसी भी एग्ज़ाम की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं, करंट अफेयर्स का एक बहुत ही बड़ा रोल होता है। इवन खास करके यूपीएससी जैसे एग्जामिनेशन में 20 to 25 करंट अफेयर्स, इवन समटाइम्स इट क्रॉसेस टू 30 करंट अफेयर्स, it will be it will play a crucial role in your marks improvement. सो मैं आप सभी से रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि आप इस चैनल से जुड़ें और आप करंट अफेयर्स के डेली एनालिसिस को फॉलो करें एंड सूनर और लेटर आपको ये फ़ायदा ही देगा, इसमें कुछ आपका नुकसान नहीं होगा। तो चलिए आज स्टार्ट करते हैं करंट अफेयर्स के पहले न्यूज़ से। द शो मस्ट गो ऑन, यह पहला न्यूज़ है। This news is all about the recent movie of Kamal Hassan to be released in Kannada language, Kannada state. The movie name is Thug Life. Thug Life नाम की मूवी है, कमाल हसन की मूवी है एंड इन इस मूवी के अगेंस्ट प्रोटेस्ट किया जा रहा है कर्नाटका स्टेट्स में। द रीज़न बीइंग कि कमाल हसन का एक फेमस स्टेटमेंट था कि कन्नड़ लैंग्वेज इज़ बोर्न आउट ऑफ तमिल। तो जिस वजह से कन्नड़ा पीपल, द प्रो कन्नड़ा पीपल एंड वो लोग जो कन्नड़ा लैंग्वेज के हेरिटेज में बिलीव रखते हैं, तो वो एक्साइटेड हो गए एंड दे स्टार्टेड getting involved in the protest and similar kind of like mob rule और mob violence हुआ। इनफैक्ट दिस कर्नाटका फिल्म चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स ने इस फिल्म को अलाउ कर दिया था स्क्रीनिंग के लिए, बट द कमाल हसन की मूवी को सीवियर प्रोटेस्ट फेस करना पड़ रहा है। तो ये इशू सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आया एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज़ क्रिटिसाइज दिस स्टांस ऑफ द कन्नड़ा पीपल। लेट्स सी what the Supreme Court has to say. Let's see what Supreme Court has to say. Supreme Court has said the mob sentiment and the attempt to restrict free speech and expression. The government should not be in control of the mob but allow for the free speech and expression which holds the constitutionality. अगेन आगे सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहते हैं कि द वल्नरेबल पीपल जिनका किस हर्ट सेंटिमेंट हर्ट हुआ है, दे शुड ऑल्सो इन्वॉल्व इन अपहोल्डिंग द फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच। बेसिकली इशू है कि फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच वर्सेस डिफेमेशन का इशू है, क्योंकि कमाल हसन ने लैंग्वेज के बारे में, कन्नड़ लैंग्वेज के बारे में ये बोला कि तमिल से निकला है, बट द कन्नड़ा पीपल आर बीइंग सेंटी फॉर द लैंग्वेज एंड कन्नड़ा एंड तमिल, these are the two states which are facing linguistic issues nowadays. एंड ये एक सेल्फ ओरिजिनेटेड नहीं है, इनको फैब्रिकेट किया गया इस लैंग्वेज को इशू को। पेरियार जो थे उन्होंने तमिल लैंग्वेज को फैब्रिकेट करा, तमिल इशू को फैब्रिकेट किया एंड उसको अभी तक डीएमके पार्टी जो है कंटिन्यू करते आ रहे हैं। जब भी कुछ इशू होता है तो उनको रेस का नाम दे देते हैं, उनको लैंग्वेज का नाम दे देते हैं। सिमिलर सेंटिमेंट इज गोइंग इन कर्नाटका। In recent 3 to 4 years, the incident regarding Kannada language has been increasing, and everyone has to be aware of the fact this issue will go on and on. There is no solution, but the most and the stable solution is to be tolerant towards other language. Respect other language and be proud of your language. Do not hurt sentiment of other language. This is all about my analysis to this news. Moving to the next news. This is about the MI6 appointment. Recently, a woman of 47-year-old Blasi Metravelli has been appointed as the MI6. She will head the MI6, and people are saying that it is inspired from James Bond movie 007, where a woman led the intelligence. In a history of MI6 of 116 year, this is the first time that woman is ruling or woman is heading the MI6. This is also a generational change. This is all about generational change. Woman is getting in that area where she hasn't been. This also focuses on the emphasizing the role of woman in today's world and the ability of woman, which has been criticized or discussed negatively in earlier eras, is not the situation today. From being the lower rank officer to top officials like Claudia Sheinbaum, President of Mexico, etc. This is the article emphasizing on role of women, and this is not about the who is stronger, who is with weapon, or etc. Let's see what next slide says. The piece argues that in today's intelligence war, the most dangerous person in the room is no longer the one with a weapon, but rather someone with a steel subtlety and technical know-how who can reimagine strength and leadership. The editorial also highlights the espionage has involved car chases for cyber attacks, cocktail parties, and code breaking, demanding a new operational playbook. It points out while women have historically contributed significantly to the intelligence work, citing examples like Bletchley Park, Codebreaker, and the WW World War II operatives. Bletchley Park. This is an important example that can be used in essay and ethics and even women's issues. like society. Their institutional recognition has been long overdue. However, women has been playing roles in the intelligence agency, but institutional recognition has not been yet. This is the first time that at the top leadership position woman has been recognized. This appointment is seen as a signal that the intelligence world is adapting to the complexity of an era dominated by cyber rooms, misinformation, global crisis. That's it for this news. Moving to next part. A voice stares back. Israel thumbs its nose at US with its strike against Iran. What Trump does or what he doesn't do is the key. Yesterday there has been a news that Israel has bombed the news broadcaster, state news broadcaster of Iran, and in response Iran is claiming that it has hit the Mossad headquarters. Let's see what will be its implication. This slide discusses the editorials. The editorials delve into the escalating conflict between the Israel and Iran, arguing Israel's actions, particularly in aggression, appears aimed at regime change. Okay, the main issue is Israel want to change the regime of Iran. Regime change, a sole goal. Regime change is the sole goal of Iran, so that Israel could set the puppet government which will not be involved in preparing the nuclear arsenals in the long run, which can impact Israel as well as its partners. The editorial questions Israel's claim of preemptive strikes. The editorial is questioning the preemptive strikes to neutralize Iran's nuclear capability, suggesting that claim does not stand the test of international law. According to the editorial, the Israel's attack on Iran is not at par with the international laws. It highlights the historical disaster consequences of the foreign orchestrated regime change. It is orchestrated regime change. The action of the Israel and US is an orchestrated regime change. Just US has done in Pakistan, US has done in Bangladesh, and Israel is doing in Iran. This the impact of this event will lead to instability and violence. This this also emphasizes on the critical role of US, particularly President Donald Trump, in shaping the trajectory of this conflict. And US involvement is very high and it is playing a great stake. United States President Donald Trump has left the G7 summit as early as possible. However, US is also trying to solve the issue with diplomatic effort, but Iran is also reluctant to this effort because it will benefit Israel only. So this is all about the news which is ongoing. Let's move to the next news. A time to look inward. This article by Pranjul Bhandari discusses about the India's export, how India is not getting benefited by the export. Let's see what I have prepared a summary. In next slide, let's see what it says. For its economy, India must get closer to the world. India must get closer to the world. It means कि India has to get in partnership with another countries through economic agreement like FTA, CAPA, etc. Further article discusses India's economic growth has historically been the fastest during the period of increased global integration. Bhandari argues that during the global integration, India's GDP has been increasing, and her suggestion is that the positive impact of deeper integration outweighs the risk. She emphasizes that the positive integration means getting involved with the countries in a positive manner, doing deals with mutual benefits will help us to increase our presence in the foreign markets, and this will boost the export. And she is also telling that India being the domestic driven economy need to focus more on export, and सर्विस एक्सपोर्ट से ही काम चलने वाला नहीं है, हमको अदर सेक्टर्स में एक्सपोर्ट की अपॉर्चुनिटी देखनी होगी, जैसे कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गुड्स, टेक्सटाइल्स, फर्नीचर, फुटवेयर्स एट्सेट्रा। इन सभी के मार्केट को हम लोग देखें तो बहुत ह्यूज मार्केट है, बट इंडिया इज़ नॉट टैपिंग दैट मार्केट. इंडिया नीड्स टू टैप दिस मार्केट थ्रू म्यूचुअल एग्रीमेंट एंड बायलैटरल विजिट. सी, इंडिया का इन्फ्लुएंस तो बढ़ रहा है, बट जो बायलैटरल इकोनॉमिक एग्रीमेंट जो हो रहा है, बायलैटरली जो इकोनॉमिक मार्केट, फॉरेन इकोनॉमिक मार्केट में घुसने की बात हो रही है, वो नहीं कर पा रहा है इंडिया. एंड दिस इज़ द लेकोना इंडिया इज़ फेसिंग. इंडिया हैज़ टू एड्रेस दिस इशू to increase its economy and to become a Viksit Bharat by 2047. This is all about this piece of article by Pranjal Bhandari. Moving next. Missing global leadership. The article by Pratap Bhanu Mehta discusses about the global leadership. Why the global leadership is missing? Because there has been conflict in recent past and some ongoing conflict like Israel-Gaza conflict, Israel-Iran conflict, Russia-Ukraine conflict, India-Pakistan conflict. The writer highlights that there is a lack of morality among world powers today. Some are posing global interest and some are posing self-interest. The selfishness has led to the decrease in global relation. Let's see what writer has to say. Mehta argues that amidst mass devastation and suffering, our moral faculties has been paralyzed. He observed a disabandonment of the language where words have become weapons, not tools for understanding or reconciliation. The author suggests pre-existing group loyalties allow for the rationalization of atrocities, ignoring the risk of leading to the breakdown of cosmopolitan sensibility and a re-emergence of dehumanization of others. He critically assesses the India's role as a limited to the symbolic gesture due to nationalist narcissism, interested or caught in the own dilemmas. The writer also discusses about nihilism. If we go on to see the impunity and nihilism, nihilism is the rejection in certain fundamental aspects of society. It is all about rejection. The world is rejecting. Nobody is interested in others' war. But when there is war in Europe, they want to interested. They want somebody to be interested. As our foreign minister has said, Europe sees the own problems as the world's problem, but do not see world problem as its own problem. This is all about this article. Let's move to another article. Language of inclusion. In the national education policy, we are following the language policy, three language policy. But the problem is at very root level, grassroots level, there is a lack of teachers and the resources. For examples, there is a lack of nearly 9 lakh regular teaching post has been vacant. This creates a huge problems in basic facilities which are being provided to our childrens. See, writer says that multilingualism is beneficial. The reality of 9 lakh vacant regular teaching posts in government schools presents a significant hurdle. He questions the multilingualism truly means for children in under-resourced schools. The writer is questioning the multilingualism because the teacher is lacking and various posts are vacant. So what is the role of multilingualism then? The author also emphasizes that circulars alone cannot solve the deep seated institution issues like humiliation, failure, and exclusion faced by the millions of first generation learners. There are millions of first generation learners which are facing the exclusion due to this vacancy, and government need to focus on that because these children will become the bright future. This is all about this article, and along with CBSE, the government bodies should take the step in rejuvenating such ideas. Another news, इन झारखंड there is a dispute over Ratu land. Ratu land के बारे में हम लोग थोड़ा समझते हैं. Ratu land are those lands which are the lands of tribals, but in few decades these lands of the tribals are being sold at lower prices and the ownership goes to non-tribals. Non-tribals include like migrants, businessmen, and other populations. And there is a constant dispute of Ratu land and need to be addressed as soon as possible by the state government, as land is the state subject. Another piece of news is the UK Parliament has banned or decriminalized abortion. Another news, young Bangalore woman found murdered in Goa forest. Why I have put this kind of news? Because the problem in society is going murder, vigilantism, etc. These are the some of the rising problems, and these problems are creating a rift in the society, and it also restricts our society to grow in a subtle way. It holds our country's image backward. We need to address these basic problems so that our country image, our state image, our district image should come in front of the people in such a way that the people want to come to you and see the society, how the people are living, how the environment has been arranged, etc. So these are core social issues. That's why I have mentioned this in news. Let's see another article. The Ministry of Defense has pushed for the private sector in incentivization for the domestic production. Now the India is focusing more on domestic production for arms and ammunitions rather than just depending on foreign players. Home Ministry has said that it will facilitate Agniveer's career progression. Our government has revised the Green India Mission and it will incorporate Aravalli and the Western Ghat. This is all about the news because these two important features are the hotspot region. Western Ghat is crucial hotspot region. There is a case study. This can take the form of the case studies in Maharashtra. A panchayat with its own revenue channel awaits water flow from the Jal Jeevan taps. This regional story microcosm of the real challenges and progress in our rural development and infrastructural project. यह एक कहानी है महाराष्ट्र के एक पंचायत की जिन्होंने अपने ही रिवेन्यू रिसोर्स को यूज़ करके एक वाटर चैनल को इस्टेब्लिश किया जिससे कि लोगों के विद इन सेफ्टी ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी की समस्या ना रहे. It has make use of schemes like Jal Jeevan mission along with their own source. यह एक important rule. This is a vital piece of for understanding grassroots development and bottlenecks in scheme implementation. तो एक इम्पोर्टेंट लेसन्स भी प्रोवाइड करता है कि ग्रास रूट लेवल पे क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. जैसे कि एक तो देख सकते हैं कि फंड की कमी हो सकती है. ऑन रिवेन्यू चैनल यूज़ किया है। तो इसका मतलब फंड की कमी थी। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट को अच्छे से हैंडल नहीं किया जा रहा है। करप्शंस भी हो रहे होंगे, एक तो ये प्रॉब्लम है। अनदर की इम्प्लीमेंटेशंस में, ओवरऑल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में प्रॉब्लम है। एक तरफ तो ये हाईलाइट कर रहा है कि प्रॉब्लम्स, एंड दूसरी तरफ ये ऑल्सो हाईलाइट कर रहा है एफिशिएंसी ऑफ द पंचायत। Okay, this is all about this news. Let's move into another news. Why war has not hit the market? This is explained page. This discusses about कि इसराइल ईरान का जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहा है उससे अभी तक मार्केट पे इम्पैक्ट क्यों नहीं पड़ा है। क्योंकि ओपेक जो है अभी तक कोई मीटिंग नहीं बुलाई है और उन्होंने प्रोडक्शन को कट नहीं किया है। सऊदी अरबिया चाहे और भी कोई भी कंट्री जो ओपेक का पार्ट है या फिर ओपेक प्लस का पार्ट है, दे हैज़ नॉट कट द ऑयल प्रोडक्शन। एंड सऊदी अरबिया का तो अभी भी प्रोडक्शन फुल कैपेसिटी पे चल रहा है। इस वजह से प्राइसेस में कुछ चेंज ज़्यादा नहीं हुए हैं और डॉलर और रुपीस और अदर करेंसी में उतना ज़्यादा फ्लक्चुएशंस शो नहीं किया, जिस वजह से मार्केट पे उतना इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ा। सेकेंड इज़ अबाउट Trump's card. Trump is offering a permanent residence in US and इसके एवज में जो भी रेसिडेंट बनेंगे उनको सर्टेन अमाउंट खर्च करना होगा और इन्वेस्ट करना होगा यूएसए में। दिस इज़ डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ग्रीन कार्ड। ओके, दिस इज़ ऑल अबाउट द न्यूज़. We need not to go in the details. There was airplane crash एंड जिसकी वजह से ग्लोबल सेफ्टी और ओवरसीज सेफ्टी को भी ध्यान में रखा जा रहा है इंडिया के द्वारा. एंड अनदर न्यूज़ इज़ warm nights or more humidity. Why 57% of districts faces extreme heat risk? 57% of India's district is facing the extreme heat risk. The reason being कि humidity बढ़ रहा है and the country is going through the monsoonal phase एंड इस वजह से ह्यूमिडिटी बढ़ रहा है एंड एक्सट्रीम हीट का खतरा हो सकता है. तो आईएमडी की तरफ से वार्निंग आई है कि एक मानसूनल रेंज भी आ रहा है, एक्सट्रीम हीट का भी खतरा है. ओके, दैट्स इट फॉर टुडेज न्यूज़ एंड प्लीज़ सपोर्ट करें, लाइक करें, कमेंट करें एंड सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल. मैं आपके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत कर रहा हूँ ताकि ये जो इम्पोर्टेंट न्यूज़ है जो मिस कर देते हैं अदर कोचिंग्स या फिर अदर कोई भी कोचिंग्स को आप ले लें तो वो सिर्फ एडिटोरियल डिस्कस करते हैं. मैं सारे के सारे एडिटोरियल्स, एक्सप्लेन पेज और अदर इम्पोर्टेंट न्यूज़ जो इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है सोसाइटी को किसी भी वे में, दैट विल फॉर्म द केस स्टडी फॉर योर क्वेश्चंस in mains examination. Also it can come in the form of concept in the prelims examinations, and this is not only for the UPSC exam, this is for all state PCS and all and other exams. Thank you for being with me. That's it for today. Jai Hind, Namaste to all. Thank you.